Hi everyone, welcome to my June vlog. It is June, I can't believe it, it's gone so fast. Now, today I want to talk to you about something very different. So a lot of my videos have been about life at work in general, or the courses in general, or finding accommodation or stuff like that. But now we're kind of moving to the stage where you want to start thinking about modules. So today I'm going to be talking to you about a department in the university which is available to everyone at Warwick, provided that your course allows you to take optional modules. So this department is called IATL. So that's IATL, and what they do is basically offer interdisciplinary courses that you can apply from kind of every academic background. And what this means is, you can actually, as a math student, do a course with a film student, with a biology student, and you get to meet people from all over the university. So that's probably why I think IATL is so good. Now, what I do want to say is that these modules aren't kind of an easy module or anything like that. They are as valuable as any module you would take with your subject or like a department optional module. So this year I actually did an IATL module, and it was called Genetics, Science and Society. So while genetics, you kind of might immediately think, oh, this is just biology. It actually wasn't. So what we did, and what I really liked about it, was every week we looked at a different discipline. So yes, we did start off with some biology. We had to understand what genetics are and how they work and all that kind of thing. But it kind of morphed into learning about the history of genetics, looking at things like the eugenics movement, and then looking at also the social kind of impacts. And something that I really enjoyed was the fact that we had other people come in. So you actually had experts from each subject. So for example, we did a lesson on genetics related law, and we had someone from the law department come in and actually give us the lectures and the kind of reading materials and stuff like that for that week. So you really do get to explore everything, and you don't need to know anything at all from the other disciplines, because you learn them there. So it's a really different way of learning, and I think it's really refreshing, and it's also really challenging still. So it's still very much a degree level of learning. Now, something else that I really enjoyed was that literally the reading materials for some of the weeks were watch a film, which is great because I love watching films. But actually, there were other things like watch a documentary or YouTube videos, or read an article from a newspaper, or actually read a research paper. So there's so many things that appeal to different people, depending on what subject you're from. So as a math student, I don't do a lot of reading, so things like the films and the videos and stuff like that really appealed to me because it was easier for me to engage with. And actually you kind of have a choice of where you want to gather your information from. Now, a lot of you might be sitting here thinking, I don't know what interdisciplinary learning means. So it literally means that you are learning and taking into account the perspectives of other disciplines. So from one discipline, something may seem like a great idea. Maybe scientifically, something is a great idea. But then if you look at the ethical implications or the social implications, then maybe it doesn't seem like such a good idea. So if you have a scientist saying this is a great idea, you also need to consider the social and ethical impacts. And this is where interdisciplinary learning comes in, because you can meet experts from both fields and put that together and make kind of almost like a actually whole view of what the subject is like. So something that I came across recently that is interdisciplinary is actually the COVID response. So you have the government talking about the politics, you have the economists talking about the economy, and you have the mathematicians modelling what they think is going to happen in terms of rates of infection, and you also have things like the scientists saying what they think is best and things like that. So actually this whole COVID effort has been interdisciplinary, and something like that can be really challenging because you in your discipline might think that something is right. So as a mathematician, you might say, my model says that we are going to have an increase in infections if we leave lockdown. Now, that's, as a mathematician, you would then say, okay, so we shouldn't leave lockdown. But then you have to think about other factors such as the economy, and that's kind of difficult for you to kind of gauge and take into account other kind of perspectives, because you know that your subject tells you that we need to stay in lockdown. But it's not always the case, and actually, as we've seen, there's kind of a balance, and with everything you have to find that balance between what pieces of information you're going to include in kind of your final research or final conclusion that you make. So this is why interdisciplinary learning can be really, really powerful. So the other thing about this module, which makes it really unique, or actually all the IATL modules as far as I'm aware, is that they assess you based on various different styles that you wouldn't experience normally in university. And actually, personally, I think that the styles that they use to assess you for IATL modules is almost geared more towards what I'm interested in. So the first 50% for me was an essay. Now, that was really challenging for me in particular, and is one of the main reasons why I chose this module. I didn't score very highly in my essay, but it was my first ever essay that I've written at university. And actually, it's my first ever essay since I was like 16, so I wasn't expecting to score highly. But it kind of gave me a feel of what universities are looking for and what kind of an academic piece of writing looks like, because essay writing is really important because you do need to write in jobs, and that's something that I kind of had forgotten how to do within my course. And then the second thing you get to do, which is pretty cool, is you make a student devised assessment. Now, what this means is you can basically do anything you want. You can choose what you want to do, so you can, create an art piece or a poster or anything about anything within the topic that you've been studying in that module, and you just have to kind of create something based on it, based on what you've learned. So what I did was I actually created an exhibition about genetic disabilities, which was really cool. So when I say exhibition, I mean I didn't just make posters. I actually used a software, or actually it's a video game that I like to play, and use that to like design a whole building, and put the posters on the wall, and have seating, stuff like that, lighting, all that kind of thing, paint the walls. And yeah, so actually it's easier for you guys to see. So if you're interested, I've put the link in the description, so you can watch it there. But that was what I did, and actually I've heard people make podcasts, people have made animations, people have done, someone said they have made an actual album, like written, composed and sung a whole album, which is incredible. So all of this can be a way to do something that you have been wanting to do for a long time, and actually have it as part of your university work, which I think is really incredible. So that's a really unique and special way that you get assessed here, and if you're able to explain what you did and how you incorporated ideas from the module into your final piece, you can do really well in terms of your coursework grades as well. So that's what I really, really enjoyed about this module, how you get to tie together your learning, but it's not like sitting an exam paper. It's literally tying together your learning in your own way. And I think that's really kind of reminiscent of this idea of disciplinary learning, because you are learning about different disciplines and then you're putting it all together from your own perspective, but taking into account everyone else's. And I think that's what interdisciplinary learning really is about. So that's all I had to say today. I think you do have to kind of register in advance for these modules, so make sure you check your emails and make sure you try and register for the course in advance, because I really, really think it is such a valuable experience to do at least one of these modules while you're in university. And honestly, I don't know anyone who's done a module and then been at Warwick for the second year and not seriously considered taking another module from IATL the next year. I'm going to, I know. I really think that it's something you should consider, and push yourself out of your comfort zone and make sure you realize that this actually is a really valuable way of learning, because when you go into the world of work, when you start getting a job, when you start working with other people, whether it's research or working in a company, you do have to work with people who will have different opinions, and they'll have different disciplines and backgrounds and reasons why they disagree or agree with you. And I think it's really important that you kind of expose yourself to that now, because it can be a really good learning experience. And yeah, all I can say is I really recommend it. I hope you guys go onto your module pages and see what IATL modules you are allowed to take alongside your course. And I will see you all next month. Goodbye.